So why are we seeing strength in the Chinese tech sector over the past 2 weeks? And we're talking about giants like Alibaba, Tencent, right? They have surged up by more than 10, 20, 30 over percent in a couple of weeks. What is the reason? And more importantly, can there be more upside? Hey guys, Joey here, top tier mindset trader in Philip Securities. And in this video, I'll be sharing with you guys, three technology stock in the Chinese market, right? We'll be talking about Alibaba, Tencent, and finally BYD, right? BYD as well. Some of the most popular tech stocks, that have seen strength over the past 3 weeks. We'll dive into the charts, some of the reasons why, we are seeing strength, and can we see targets being raised even higher? And more importantly, right, I will share with you guys that, these Chinese tech stocks that are listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, how you can actually take a position in them like any other normal Singapore stocks, just by using this thing called Singapore Depository Receipts. In short, it's called SDR, right? That's exactly what we cover. So make sure you watch this video all the way to the end if you don't know what to do with Alibaba, Tencent, BYD as well. So the first Chinese tech stock I'd like to cover would be this company called Alibaba, all right? So this is the parent company, the underlying listed on the Hong Kong Exchange. The code is 9988, and Alibaba is one of the world's largest e-commerce and technology companies that is headquartered in China. It operates the popular online marketplaces like Taobao and Tmall, serving millions of consumers and businesses globally. So you can see that for Alibaba, we are now at about 138.5 Hong Kong dollars. If you look at it right over here, you can see somewhere around like end of January, beginning of February, we saw prices really just pushing higher and higher over the past 3 weeks, right? So what is the reason why we are seeing this rise? Well, I'm sure you've heard of this news called the DeepSeek, right? And this DeepSeek AI model kind of like, was released somewhere around end of Jan. It rivals the ChatGPT as well, and it costs only a fraction of the cost, right, to build this DeepSeek model. And that's where it has sparked a whole new AI craze in Chinese technology companies, which are to spark more interest, more upside momentum. And that's the reason why we are seeing strength in many of those Chinese technology stock, right? All started because of DeepSeek, right? So you can see that right now for Alibaba, we are at $138.5. So you look at the longer term trend for Alibaba, look at this, right? Longer term trend has been up, right? Right above the blue line, all right? And you see the green 20 days moving average line is sloping up as well, all right? And if I can just go ahead to just hide some of the drawings, that's where you see longer term trend is up by the red and blue line. The green line is also pointing up. And let me just go to show you guys about these numbers right over here. So you can see, right, this is $4.08 Singapore dollars, and this will be $3.40 Singapore dollars. So how do I get this price? Well, very simple. You see that 120 would be a very key resistance level for Alibaba. So we have broken the 120 psychological resistance over the past week. So that's the reason why I would say that it could be the start of even more upside for Alibaba, because we have breached this 120 Hong Kong dollars that we have been capped below since like September for about 6 months, and now we have finally got above it. So that would now be like a new support level. Anything above the 120 Hong Kong dollars, that would be kind of like a new support level, and that's where we could see even more upside. To where? Well, I think upside targets could be revised maybe all the way to the next resistance, maybe at about 150, and maybe even up to 200. Look at this right over here, right? So this was where we were somewhere in 2021. So we are kind of like, seeing the reversal right now. There are indeed some signs of this reversal happening, because we have broken the 120 psychological resistance that not only here, right? We sold off somewhere in September, but if you look all the way further back, since 2022, we have been capped below this level. Look at this right over here, right over here, right over here. We just couldn't get above 120, I would say, over the past 3 years. But right now, finally, after 3 years, we have breached the 120 psychological resistance. We could be, pushing higher. The reversal could just be at the beginning, right? And if I could just turn on very quickly what it says on my 1GT Pro indicator. So what I have is this indicator right over here, and I could just turn it on and we can quickly see if there are any bullish or bearish signals. So let me just turn it on, pump, there we go. And you can see that for Alibaba, well, before it actually started to rise, in fact, right over here on the 27th of January, I'm not too sure exactly when DeepSeek news was announced, but I think right over there, right, on the 27th of Jan, we actually got a bullish signal right over here for Alibaba, and there we go. We have started to push higher and higher, all the way up. It's a 61.8% gain in just about 3 weeks, right? Can there be more upside? Well, I think so. I mean, I would say that there could be more upside as well. As I mentioned, if we can hold above this new 120 support level. All right, so I think 120 could be a good support level. If it does dip to near 120 to 130, those are all grounds for entry. All right, so what can you do right now, in looking at Alibaba? How can you actually take a position just by buying a normal Singapore stock? So you could do this thing called the SDR, Singapore Depository Receipts, right? And this Singapore Depository Receipts actually tracks what we call the Alibaba company that is traded on the Hong Kong Exchange. So if the price of Alibaba goes up, the SDR goes up, and you can buy it just like any other normal Singapore stock. So later I'll show you guys what is the code for this SDR, but I can show you that, like right over here, we have this 120 Hong Kong dollars. So you can see 4.08. How do I get 4.08? Well, very simple. You take $120, you convert it to Sing dollars. So 120 Hong Kong dollars, you want to convert to Sing dollars, you times the exchange rate right over here of 0.17, right? 0.17. And what happens is that for this underlying stock, there's a ratio of SDR to the underlying stock of 5:1. So in order to get the SDR price, you would just need to divide by 5, right? Divide by 5. So that's how you get the $4.08, all right, right over here, and even $3.40. That would be a level we have broken as well, right? So let's take a look at what we could do for Alibaba in terms of buying what we call the SDR. So this is the Alibaba stock right over here. You can see the price is 138.50. The code is 9988, listed in Hong Kong Exchange. But if you just look down, you can see that there's this counter called Alibaba space HK space SDR 5:1. So this is the SDR that I talk about. It is listed on the SGX. It's just like any other normal Singapore stock, like your banks or DBS and all that. Same, right? So you can find the code. The code is HBBD, and you can see the price is $4.86. Singapore dollars, $4.86. So you can see right over here, if you look at the price, right over here, well, it has gone up slightly, so it's about $4.88. Based on this resistance, it has broken is 4.08. So just push higher, So as I mentioned, right, 120 would be a new support level in terms of the Hong Kong price level. So it could be anything. I mean, if you convert to Singapore dollars, it could be anything from like $4.10 to 4.30, right, to 4.40. If you to dip to that level, now it's like $4.86. So if you to dip to maybe like $4.30, $4.40 around there, that could be a good entry. It could be a potential rebound from that support level. So I think it looks pretty good, right? It looks pretty good. And if I can just quickly turn on what we call the trailing support from my 1GT Pro indicator, look at this right over here, right? So we got this trailing support popping up. We got a bullish signal on 27 Jan. Look at this, right? The 20 days moving average line started to slope up. The green line started to slope up. All right, we got the trailing support following Alibaba as it is pushing higher. So it looks pretty good, right? Short-term trend is up. We're still hovering above the trailing support. And in fact, I think today we have attempted to even break the 130. Right? Break the 130. It looks like there could be even more upside, especially 150 Hong Kong dollars were to give way. All right, so just check it out. I check it out how you can actually take a position on this Alibaba space HK SDR 5:1. So let's move on to the next Chinese technology stock that we have seen strength over the past 3 weeks, and this is none other than Tencent, right? So this is the underlying stock 0700.HK, listed on the Hong Kong Exchange, right? And Tencent is one of the China's largest technology company, right? It's renowned for its social media platform like WeChat. Some of you might be even using it, all right? And let's take a look at what has happened over the past 2 weeks, right? So same thing, something like Alibaba. Over the past 3 weeks, we got some bullish signals, right? So this is what we call 1GT bullish signals from a one good trend strategy. So we'll find a bit more, attend one of those free webinars. The link's right below the video. click on it, register for it. But today is just about talking about Tencent, Alibaba, and another stock called BYD, right? So you can see that we had some bullish signals right here. The longer term trend was up for Tencent, but when we had these bullish signals, right, the green 20 days moving average line also started to point up as another confirmation whereby the short term trend started to turn up as well. And look at it, right? We started to push higher and higher, right? From the first bullish signal all the way to now. We're only about 25.71% in just about 3 weeks. Fairly okay. But why do I like this stock? Wow, you can see that finally, right, over the past few days, we are now at 517 Hong Kong dollars. So 480, you can see right over here, 480 Hong Kong dollars is a very key psychological resistance level, right? We touched it 1 time here, 2 times here in October last year. We sold all the way down. If you look back a bit further, right over here, it was also resistance in 2021, whereby we just couldn't get above it for about a couple of months, right? And fast forward to where we are today, same thing, right? We have attempted to push near it, right? Consolidated a little bit for a while, but we have officially broke the 480 Hong Kong dollars. Now it's 517. So 517, you can see that we are above 480. This 480 would be like a new support level, right? So I've taken this level. You can see that I've kind of like converted to Singapore dollars in terms of to get the SDR price. So how do you get the SDR price? Well, very simple. 480 times the exchange rate of 0.17, that's to convert Hong Kong dollars to Sing dollars. And based on this ratio of the SDR 10:1 underlying, you want to divide it by 10 to get the price of the SDR, right? So that's where this new support level will be about $8.16. So I think it looks pretty okay, right? And if I can just go to turn on what we call the trailing support line from my 1GT Pro indicator. Look at these guys. We had a couple of bullish signals. 4th of Feb, another one in 10th of Feb, another one it goes faster, all right? So it looks pretty okay. We broke the 480. The short-term trend has turned up. Longer-term trend has been up for a while. Now it just continue to push up, all right? So I think anything above 480 or maybe even above 500, the uptrend looks pretty much intact, right? So let's take a look at how you can take a position, right, using what we call the SDR. Okay, so this is right over here, Tencent Holding. So Tencent Holding, you see the price is 517 Hong Kong dollars, right? So this is the code of the underlying, right? 0700.HK. But we talk about how you could actually buy, right, the Singapore listed SDR right over here. Just one row down, there's this Tencent space HK space SDR. 10:1, and you see the price is $8.89. This is in Sing dollars, so 8.89. So if you just compare it to the price right now, well, it's somewhere over here, $8.89. Of course, the support level is 8.16, which is lower. So you just can do a quick conversion to see where we are. So I think if prices were to dip to near like 8.20, 8.30, 8.40, or 8.50, all right, that could be where some bargain hunting can come back again. And that could be where you could also lock in some positions to ride a potential rebound. And of course, you can do a quick calculation as well, right? If you were to break like maybe the 520, so 520, you could do a conversion from Hong Kong dollars to Sing dollars. What is the Singapore dollars SDR price, right? So if you break the level, I think we could even see more upside right over here, maybe all the way to 600. So this is Tencent. I think it looks pretty okay. It looks like a reversal is ongoing. We have breached a very key level, kind of like a 3 to 4 year, resistance that we have finally, broke above. So I think that could be the start of even more upside. So let's move on to the third and the final Chinese tech stock, right? And that's what we call BYD, right? Some of you might be driving the cars here in Singapore as well, all right? So BYD is a major Chinese electric vehicle company, all right? And that's where it does produce what we call batteries for the cars, and it has expanded into the EV sector. And now one of the leading players, right? Even kind of like, beating Tesla in terms of its sales as well, all right? So very strong move. Look at this right over here. Couple of very strong bullish signals coming out. End of January, pump, all right, another bullish signal beginning of February. There we go, even faster, right? Even faster. Now we are at $392.4. So not too bad, right? Not too bad, because you can see right over here, this was the resistance, 320 Hong Kong dollars. We touched it, we sold down. Finally, this level gave way right over here. We broke it and look further back. We can see that it was also resistance here. We have pretty much reached an all-time high, all right, about 4 years back, and now we are pushing even higher. So I think that the uptrend is intact. In fact, we are making our way even higher right now, there could be even more upside. So I've drawn this new support level. So the support used to be 320 because it was a very key resistance level that we've broken. So that would be a new support. You can see, right, we held above it. So I could actually turn this to a green line because it's support level, but it's pushed higher. And now we got a higher support. So it's not even 320. I would say that right now, maybe 360 Hong Kong dollars would be a new support for BYD. All right, anything above 360 Hong Kong dollars, I think it looks pretty strong. All right, and we may have a resistance at the 400 Hong Kong dollars. So why 400? Well, 400, you can see that today we kind of like touch it, came back down, and it is also what we call a psychological level. So what you could do is, right over here, as I said, right, you could convert it, and we could calculate in terms of the Singapore dollar price, in terms of the Singapore depository receipts, right, the SDR, right? So very simple, like 360, how you do it, 360 times 0.17, right? That is to convert from Hong Kong dollars to Singapore dollars. And you want to just divide it by 10, and that's how you get $6.12. Same thing for $6.80. How do you get it? Well, you just take 400 times 0.17, and then you divide it by 10 to get what we call the SDR price. So I think it looks okay, right? So if we head to near the $6.12 or 6.20, maybe if it breaks the 6.80 resistance in terms of the SDR, we could see even more upside. So let's take a look at what has happened for the SDR right now. You can see that this is what we call the BYD. So BYD 392.40. If you just look down, there's this SDR right here, BYD space HK space SDR 10:1. The code is HYDD. You can see the price is $6.83 Singapore dollars. So if you just compare it, right, $6.83, right, yeah, somewhere right over here, there's some slight exchange rate as well, but you can see the price is pretty much right around that resistance level. So if you do pull back a bit, maybe to near 380, 360, I think that could be bargains ground, whereby some bargain hunting can come back again, right? So this is BYD. I think looks pretty good, right? Both Alibaba, Tencent, and even BYD, they looks to be even more upside ahead, right? I can just turn on the trailing support. Let's take a look at what they say. Look at this, right? We got this trailing support popping up. It is following BYD as it moves even higher. There's some space for it to move up even higher, hopefully, all right? And I think if we can break the 400, there could be still more legs to this rally. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you like this video in terms of the Chinese technology stock, Alibaba, Tencent, and BYD. You now have a better idea of where we are, why are we seeing the rise over the past few weeks, and more importantly, how you can actually take a position using the SDR, right? If you do not want to buy the underlying stock that's listed on the Hong Kong exchange, right? Check it out. All right, you can just type the name of the code right here. As I say, for Alibaba HKSDR, the code is HBBD. You can go to any trading platform. If you have a trading account under me in Flip Securities, that's where you get some of our services, some top ideas as well. And of course, you can just type the code HBBD in the trading account to pull out this stock, right? Alibaba right over here, and of course we have a Tencent right over here. HTCD is the code for the Tencent SDR, and finally BYD, the code is HYDD. That is the code for the BYD SDR. So I hope you like this video, guys. If you like it, go to give me a like, smash the subscribe button, all right, and follow us so that when we go live in the future, you will not miss out as well. Joey here. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to see you in the next video. Take care.